Hey there, I thought I'm going to give you a little update because the next couple of days are going to be really intense, really profound, and really significant also on the world stage. Probably one of the more significant really periods of time that we have this entire year. This is because we have an Aries New Moon, which will be conjunct Chiron, the deepest wound, but also the profound possibility that is encapsulated in our woundedness and in the pain, so the healing potential. But also just now, Mercury and the Moon moved out of Pisces and into Aries. So we've got this whole cluster of energies in Aries, Aries on all sides. But this brings with it a lot of really confusing and also counterintuitive kind of energies. Going through it one by one, we've got the Moon now moving towards this new Moon in Aries. That's the first counterintuitive energy. Aries is all about initiating and drive and starting something. But the new moon is the most profound yin time where the energy really retreats in the monthly cycle. It's the most inward focused energy. And going towards a new moon, the black moon days that we're in now are the epitome of that kind of energy. So that's the first counterintuitive energy there. Then, as I've already said a couple of times in other videos, for these outer planet activations like we have with Saturn and Neptune and Aries right now, we need faster moving planets, really pull them into manifestation and into concrete action. These energies are usually the Moon, Mercury, or Mars. And we've got all three of them zipping by right now. So Mars, having been in Aries now for a couple of days, is also very counterintuitive because usually this would be all about, oh, my will, my desire, my libido, there's expression of will and drive and assertiveness, sovereignty within that, but also the potential for aggression and restlessness and impatience and the projection of anger outwards to the outer environment, right? Mars, having moved into Aries now, out of Pisces, would have directly met Neptune the last couple of days, just as the Moon and Mercury were closing up with Pisces the last couple of days as well. And Neptune dissolves, Neptune confuses, Neptune casts the glamour, Neptune is our dreams, our visions, our longing. So Neptune energy is very antithesis to physical drive, physical assertiveness, physical energy, because Neptune's energy draws our psychic energy very deep within. Our dream life might get very active, we might have strong insomnia, even though we're really tired physically, this kind of energy. So very confusing energy there to begin with. Then also Mercury and the Moon having left Pisces now as of today is also really significant, much more so than a usual brief sign shift of these fast-moving planets would indicate, because now there's nothing in Pisces anymore. And I talked about this before, this is really the end of a huge era. We had Neptune continuously in Pisces since 2012. And so we don't have any planet in the Pisces archetype and realm anymore, and that would have also coincided, especially over the last couple of days, to maybe a really profound heavy feeling of heaviness or release, or also confusion and longing and grief, right? There's this unconscious and subconscious deep process of letting go that happened there. On top of this, also because Mercury is the ruler of the South Node that is moving through Virgo right now, and they're also about a deep release of when and how we exhibit mental patterns that are not serving us anymore. Criticizing, nagging, but also feeling our own sense of imperfection. This can translate very directly to the Aries energy and bring up a lot of drive, but also frustration, which again, we can very easily project outward. And this gets even more interesting as now Mars and Mercury will meet Saturn just after this Aries new moon on Friday. Friday is the new moon. Over the weekend, Mars and Mercury meet with Saturn. There's this triple conjunction. Actually, it's more of like, because they all meet on 7 degrees of Aries, but it's actually a quadruple conjunction because Neptune is also definitely still in the field on 2, almost 3 degrees of Aries. Mars is like the gas, Saturn is the brakes. This transit happens every 2 years roughly, and it's always a big deal, because Mars brings this energy of Saturn into concrete form. Saturn is where and how the deeper structure of society is being constellated right now. Saturn relates also to scarcity, to lack, to control, to dominion, even more so in Aries. Aries is also energy and the Mars-Neptune cycle itself, and Neptune by itself as a planetary archetype, both also relate to oil and how we use physical energy in the world and how it's distributed. And here we've got the gas and the brakes at the same time that we see that usually really clucks up the systems. So one very poignant example is Mars and Saturn's conjunction in Aquarius in 2020, when all things Aquarius, free movement, free air travel, free open borders and boundaries just shut down. The system's overloaded. The system will probably be overloaded in one way or another again over the next couple of days, especially as it comes to energy, but also mass, war, aggression. There's also, of course, a really funky thing that happened the last couple of days because, surprise, surprise, Trump was in the headlines. Wow, I know. But Trump attacked the Pope, the literal head of the church, of the Catholic Church, that's that Neptune archetype, the Mars energy is attacking as Mars and Neptune were together over the last couple of days, for not being more towards war. I'm not going to even say anything to that. The Aries archetype, of course, in full expression. And then also he posting an image of himself as kind of like a savior kind of figure, a Christ kind of figure, also the Neptune archetype. And that, of course, also relates to this deeper energy of AI. AI on the technological side is very Uranus. It's also Pluto in Aquarius right now. That's more the technical, nitty-gritty, wow, whatever civilization is evolving, if we want to call it that. But what it does to our consciousness is so Neptune and Neptunian. Neptune is all about glamour and images and mirages and dreams and our projections and our longings, but also when how we get confused and get lost in the maze. Neptune rules photography and videography and movies. And in the same vein, Neptune, I make the case, has a really strong correspondence to what AI is doing to our consciousness. So there, just a little interesting thing of already this energy and manifestation, Mars, Neptune, and this little thing with Trump. Moving on, I know this is a lot. I'm on fire. I'm wearing this red shirt. The next days will be fire, but they will also be confusing. So to just still untangle the last tidbit here, not a tidbit at all, really. The new moon in Aries, which I still want to talk a bit more specifically about in the next video over the coming days. But the new moon is at the late degrees of Aries, 27 degrees of Aries, which is where we have Chiron right now. Chiron relates to our deepest sense of pain and woundedness. And at the same time, on this exact point is also the planet Aries, or outer planet or dwarf planet. Aries' orbit is almost twice as long as that of Pluto, I think like almost 500 years, if not longer. And Aries in mythology is, of course, the goddess of discord that initiated the whole Trojan War storyline. She was not invited to the wedding. She played a game, a trick on the attendees of the wedding, threw this golden apple. She wasn't invited, and there's this also deep rage against injustice, which Chiron can also really strongly bring up within us. Because Chiron's pain and woundedness, as soon as we also in our own healing and individuation journey start digging a bit deeper, because Chiron can put up so much defenses, and most of the defenses of people around you, your friends, your lovers, your family, whatever, really strongly relate to both Saturn and Chiron, where we really want to defend ourselves because it hurts so much. And with Chiron though, with Saturn it feels a bit more personal, but with Chiron, as soon as we go a bit deeper, we have to see that our deepest point of pain or woundedness or strife or struggle is very transpersonal. It's not personal, and this is again counterintuitive because Aries is all about me, myself, and I, and how I bring my will and my desire for life out there, right? But Chiron shows us where and how we feel deeply wounded is a big collective issue, and is not just mommy and daddy, and their parents, and there we directly see, oh, this is a transgenerational thing, this is an ancestral thing, this is a thing relating to society or a planet. And again, new moon in Aries, all about seeding seeds for where and how we want to act and initiate and bring out into the world. But we first have to meet this deepest point of Aries, discord also, where and how there is rupture in our family systems, in our life, in our societies that just can't be fixed, no matter how many Jupiter, Neptune kind of ideals and projections and I can fix them kind of energy we try to apply, what kind of super glue we try to come up with. There are rifts in the human psyche, and there are also individual people that are just unredeemable on some way or another. They just can't be helped, can't be saved. And Chiron also bringing this theme up, right? Chiron is that center about healing and higher knowledge and the teacher and the guide, right? But the lower part of his body and being is a horse, is an animal. And there's that primal rage of our animalistic nature that also comes up with Chiron energy. Couple this with Aries and Aries, and it just brings up this double whammy, triple whammy of here's rage, here's power. And then couple that together with Saturn and Mars meeting, and throw in Mercury just because it's not enough. Mercury, of course, ruling movement, travel, exchange, as in the marketplace. Mercury rules that, the stock market, and our whatever, one barrel of oil is another $100 or plus or minus. That's Mercury as well. So throw in all of this together and then shake it up real good, and this is what we have over the next couple of days. I think if there is any kind of lesson or advice I would give, and I have to struggle with myself as well, is to come to a deeper point of also Neptune, forgiveness and compassion, because of where and how these rifts and the breakage and the pain and the wound and the anger and the resentment that has been maybe festering in our unconscious or in our family constellations. We have to meet that with a sense of compassion. Otherwise, we start lashing out again. We just re-perpetuate this cycle of violence. We see it out on the world stage. Is it much better in our personal and private lives? Where and how do we give into that energy? An eye for an eye, and constantly try to get a sense of empowerment through outward aggression. And this is what aggression does. It's a momentary relief of where and how we feel deeply victimized. This is again the Chiron and the Neptune archetype that are in the field here. Where and how we feel deeply victimized. And the strong will and willpower that comes out of it is the gift, but we can't uncouple that from the pain or the trauma of willfulness and aggression that even initiated or perpetuated certain cycles, certain traumas, certain woundedness within us. This, at the same time, is of course a seed moment. This Mars-Saturn conjunction is a seed moment. Where and how can I, Saturn, hold with integrity, channel constructively, apply discipline and patience to this fiery drive and will within me that just wants to burst forth, that needs to do, that can feel this immense sense of frustration, right? Of like, I've sat idle for too long, so now let me finally act, right? Saturn forces us and initiates a new cycle over the next 2 years of where and how we can bring our will and our discipline together, and in that way actually create and build and work and act in much bigger ways than the uncontrolled, impulsive kind of action of Mars, giving out something here or there or whatever be able to achieve. And at the same time, it's of course also a seed moment of this new moon in Aries, of where and how we can access over the coming moon cycle and also over the next 6 months until the Aries, Aries Libra full moon, new moon comes around again, and for the next year until we come back to Aries season again, where and how we must come into much deeper contact with our own personal wound and woundedness. And this is the thing, I could talk about this for hours. So much of what we see happening on the world stage, so much of also our interpersonal strife and struggle and pain and woundedness and feelings of having been hurt, just results out of the fact of where and how we try to run away from our own sense of pain and don't really enter this deeper journey of our own healing journey. That does not mean I advocate for endless navel gazing. We need to express that energy outward, and in that way also help people and humanity and the world and nature all around us. But if we only try to do that because of this own inner feeling of impotence or victimization or sorrow and trying moving away from it, this is a defense mechanism. Playing the savior is a defense mechanism. So much of what we see happening in the world, even on the biggest world stage, just results out of the fact of where and how we, on an individual level, are not really taking up that deeper inner healing journey and really confront the deepest, most wounded parts within ourselves. I see this so much. I see this so much in people and friends around me. I see this in my own life. As long as we don't do that, we keep on projecting our pain, our hurt, our woundedness out there, and we look both for a savior, but at the same time also feel that there's a lot of perpetrators out there onto which we can project this also angry energy, right? You've hurt me, so now I can hurt you back. And that's just reperpetuating these cycles of violence. I think this is enough. This was a lot technically. I hope you could follow. Stay safe, stay sane. Take a deep breath the next couple of days. It will probably be quite intense. The world stage will also look interesting. Oil shipments and whatever else might be happening in Iran that will have global repercussions one way or another will be big theme the next couple of days. And in your own personal relationships, I hope you can make more peace instead of reperpetuating discord and strife and manipulation that also comes and stems out of that. So thank you for listening and see you soon. Bye-bye.